In this video, what we're going to be talking about is building an argument in your analytical text response essay. So, firstly, what is an argument? An argument is a statement or point supported by logical reasoning and relevant evidence. It's not referring to the argument or an argument in the sense of a heated disagreement between two people. So, a statement or a point. Well, we can see two examples here. First one, the best way to prevent mass shootings is a blanket ban on all semi-automatic weapons. A pretty relevant issue still in our world today. And Macbeth is most responsible for his own downfall in the play. A point or a statement that's relevant in the play Macbeth by Shakespeare. Now, both of these are statements or points, but they're not an argument, because they're not supported by logical reasoning and relevant evidence. You really need to answer the question because in order to begin to make it an argument. So, in an essay, each body paragraph that you write should focus on one argument. Let's say you're writing 4 body paragraphs in your essay. That's 4 arguments. Let's say you're writing 3 body paragraphs. That's 3 arguments. That's the space and time where you have to turn your point or statement into an argument by providing logical reasoning, providing evidence to support your reasoning, and also explaining how your evidence actually supports your point. Perhaps an easier way to think about it is, imagine someone asking you, how do you know, or what makes you say that in response to a statement or a point that you make. You then have to go on and actually explain your point. You have to provide an interpretation. You have to support it. You have to try and be convincing. So in an essay, a successful, convincing, well-rounded argument has these 3 traits. It's not only supported by evidence, but supported by relevant evidence, which means you need to be wary about picking and choosing what evidence you use. It contains detailed explanations that closely examine the evidence. So we don't want explanations that just give us a broad overview. Your explanation should be detailed enough to show your understanding, and they should closely examine the evidence so that we can understand how the evidence is relevant to the point that you are trying to make. And, finally, sound and logical inferences or conclusions based on the evidence. So, the internal structure of a body paragraph. Typically, people like to use the acronym TEAL, T-E-E-L. Whilst that can be useful, it can be a bit restricting, but here I've got it here just in case you prefer to use it. So begin with a topic sentence outlining your point or your statement. Then follow on with using a combination of evidence and explanations in order to prove or try to convince people of your point or your statement. Then at the end of your paragraph, link back to the essay topic to show the overall relevance of your discussion. This might be helpful for you. You might consider a structure like this to be useful. Personally, I prefer to just focus on imagining someone asking me how I know or what makes me say that, and then going on to explain things in detail. Now let's look at an example. So, what I have here in the red is the topic sentence. What I have there in the orange is the linking sentence, linking back to the essay topic and showing the relevance of the discussion. What I have there in the green is evidence and description, which is part of the evidence, and the blue is an explanation of the evidence, what it means, how it's relevant, what it shows. What would be useful for you to do is to pause this video and then figure out how the rest of the body paragraph in the black, what parts are green and what parts are blue, so that you can clearly see where there are examples or evidence used and how those are explained. Finally, I just want to mention this, which many of you will be quite familiar with. It's a thinking routine called Peel the Fruit. Just very briefly, Peel the Fruit involves 3 parts. The first one is observing. The second part is thinking. And the third part is considering, based on your thoughts and your observations, what is at the heart of this? What is the essence of this? What is at the core of this? How can this help you with your essay writing? How can this help you with building an argument? Well, if you think about it, the argument or the point that you make is essentially what is at the heart. It's what is at the core, what is the essence. The orange parts are the relevant descriptions and evidence that you can use, and the blue part are the explanations. So If you find this useful, you can use this as a thinking routine to help you make your thinking visible, which will then help you to plan out and structure your body paragraph.